Kayla,
Mm-hmm.
boundaries, because I mean that's kind of what we're talking about is boundaries. You know, at
Yeah.
this point when it comes to I can't take a gal serious that has guy friends. So let's
Mm-hmm.
say it's a different conversation, and he says, "Kayla,
Okay.
I dig your vibe. Yes, you know we're talking about marriage, you know all that kind of good stuff. But I
Yeah.
can't take a girl seriously that's posting sexy, provocative selfies on Instagram. I can't have a girlfriend doing that."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that the same as the guy friends, or is that a conversation you'd sit down and be like, yeah, you know what, probably right?
Probably he's probably for someone else. He's not for me because I was married. I didn't post anything for 8 years,
Mm.
and it I now videotape and take pictures of everything, including me going to the pool. So if it's considered a sexy thing when I work hard for my body, it's not my problem who considers it sexy. I'm confident, I like
Why do you do
myself.
it
If
though?
I
Like, if you are confident, then why do you do it and put it out to the public?
Because I was pregnant once and I didn't look good, and I like to
Mm.
know I my like even my girlfriends comment on it and they're like, "Oh, you look so good, you put in a lot of work." It's it's complimenting people who like I do it. If I feel like someone deserves a compliment and it's nice to hear things, you don't know if they just don't hear anything
So
that's a
all of
compliment throughout
the
the day.
so all of the compliments that I'm reading here on one of your posts is
Hmm.
guy, 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 guy,
I
and
know
then
which one
there's
you're probably looking
queen,
at then.
queen of something, guy,
Yeah.
guy, guy. So it's all guys that are complimenting you here. So it's
Yeah.
validation coming from men.
Okay.
But if
Would
you
you
have a
not want
guy,
validation coming from women?
but if you have a guy in your life that says, "I want to make
Yeah.
you part of my life and invite you into it and put a ring on your fingers and babies in you," and he says, "Look,
Okay.
this is a boundary for me. I can't have somebody that I'm serious about posting sexy,
Hmm.
provocative selfies on. Like, it's got nothing to do with your business. Like, if you're a
Right.
fitness
Yeah.
model and you're selling Bang energy drinks or whatever,
Yeah.
then I would get it. But you're in real estate,
Hmm.
right? Like, why do you need
Yeah.
to post pictures of yourself almost
I
naked?"
have a I have a separate page for Graywood Homes,
Yeah,
which
but
I
this is
don't
a
work with.
public page, so anybody can see it. Like, I don't follow you, and I can see it.
Right. Well, I don't work with homeowners or builders. I work for myself. Everything I do, I buy it and I sell it myself. I don't do anything for anybody except for
Got it.
myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's about your central point.
Yeah, I'm just enjoying life and I can post whatever I want. And
Yeah.
if I was to be with someone and they had a problem with men complimenting me, there's an issue and it's not with me and it's with some
Well,
and it
let's
could
be
be with
real. Like a man
someone's
complimenting you at
confidence.
the grocery store when you're checking out says, "Hey, I like your eyes," sort of thing, is different from you taking a provocative selfie in a mirror and posting it on the gram for everybody to see and
Hmm.
comment on. Would you agree?
We're probably just going to have to agree to disagree. I think everybody's different and
Okay.
I know plenty of men who would not have a problem with it.
Okay. I want to hear from the other ladies on the same sort of question, right? I mean, if you're with a guy and you're talking something long term, and he said, "Hey, look, I dig your vibe too, but if I were to take you seriously, like I really can't deal with you if you're going to be posting sexy, provocative photographs here online." How would you handle that? Well, let's go to Ashley first because I know that you do OnlyFans. So, would
Yeah.
you give up your livelihood for a guy? Basically, I guess is the question for you.
I've been asked actually a few times if I would quit OnlyFans for what I'm doing or to date them, and I said no. That I wouldn't date them. I would want someone that's okay with it, just because it's what I've chosen to do. I can't say how
Does
long
it
I'll be
does it
doing
pay
this.
really well for you? Like, how does it? I'm not sure what the model is because I'm not a gal doing
enough
this.
to live off of. Yeah,
more than enough to live off of.
More than enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like you do pretty well. So, I mean, what if the guy made loads of money, said, I just want to take care of you and put babies in you, make my house a home and that sort of thing? Like, would you give it up then?
If you really wanted me to, like, absolutely take care of everything, I would probably choose a different job. Like, if it was just the pictures that bothered him, and if he was financially responsible for everything, I would be like, okay, I'll do it. But I still want to have enough money for myself in case like something were to happen and fall through.
Okay, so you need your own like financial backup plan. Like you need your own nest egg, but you would I guess, comply because he's a high value guy and he can take care of you in that sense.
If
I think
he's
I
willing
understand.
to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Sophie, I haven't seen your Instagram yet,
I
but tell
don't have
me.
anything on there.
But tell
Actually,
me, like, what's your story? You know, when it comes to that sort of conversation, like, what are your thoughts on that?
no, I definitely think it's, if you put yourself out there, you know, expecting compliments, you're gonna get them. I mean, come on. You post on social media, you're gonna get people commenting on there saying, "Oh, you look good," whatever. But you're setting yourself up for that. So it's like, it's not like you're asking for it, but it's gonna happen. You're gonna get these people, these guys commenting underneath, your Instagram, whatever. It's gonna happen. So it's like you're kind of setting yourself up for that. So if you were in a relationship and you post something, or if I were to post something, knowing, dang well, I'm gonna get people commenting under this, and it's gonna hurt him, I want to do it. I flat out want to do it, knowing that he's gonna read this, he's gonna see. I put that on there, knowing these people are gonna comment, and he's gonna read it, and that's gonna hurt. That's just it's not fair. So I agree.
Alexander, what's your take on that?
What was the original question?
The original question was: you're in a relationship. You've had the where do we stand talk. I want to claim you. I don't want to share you. I want to be your girlfriend. Blah blah blah. And then he comes back and says, "Well, I dig your vibe too, but your Instagram's covered in half naked photos of you, and I can't take a gal seriously that does that."
I would agree with them.
And
Because
how would you respond? Like, would you just stop taking the photographs? Would you make it private? Like, what would your strategy be at that point?
Well, my Instagram's private anyway. And you control your audience. I think that, when you're first getting into a relationship with somebody, to get a glimpse into their world, the easiest way is social media. Who are you following? How many followers do you have? For me, I don't need to see that you have 14,000, followers, unless like your content is more aligned with the motivational and trying to help people. Having 14,000 followers and being a bikini model is great, but who's your audience? And at the end of the day, your audience should be that significant other and how they feel. And it's the small sacrifices, and having the conversation is, what is provocative to you? Is posting in a bikini with friends, is that provocative for you? Or is, posting your butt straight on the internet provocative?
The question's interesting because, I mean, there's a divide on that question when you ask it. And it seems like most women today are like, well, why are you insecure? Why are you trying to be controlling? I would just move on, sort of thing. But I think women fail to recognize the way that I describe this man. Again, I said top shelf. He's got his stuff together. He's compelling. You've asked to be with him. You've said, where do we stand? I want to claim you. I don't want to share you. It's rare for women to do that. Like, women only choose men like that when they're really high value guys. They tick off your boxes. And then he just says, well, I have a boundary and I don't cross that boundary. Like, this is a firm boundary. And you say, well, pound sand, buddy, I'll just find somebody else. Right? Like, there's a large contingent of the female dating demographic right now that would say, get lost. What do you guys say to that?
It goes back to the boundary. You hit it right on the head. Women and men both have, lists of non-negotiables per se. If that was on your list at the beginning and I knew that, then you can decide ahead of time what do I want out of it.
It's not something that I would encourage guys to put on the table at the beginning. Like, I deal with guys a lot in this realm, and a lot of, like, most men, generally speaking, I think want to be in a relationship. Like, the last guy on my Unplugged Alpha podcast, he was on for like 90 minutes. The dude's an incel. He just wants a girlfriend. He doesn't even want to date multiple women simultaneously to let the cream rise to the top. He doesn't even want to go to the gym to get a girlfriend. He wants to remain at 110 pounds, right? But he wants a girlfriend. So guys have a strong desire, I think, for intimacy with the opposite sex. Bottom line, I mean, that's why we're here. Men are here to scatter seed. Women are here to have babies. Like, we're not here to build skyscrapers and roads and cars and charge our shit and all that stuff. Like, this is the main reason why we're here, right? I think it's a fair assessment. So it's like, if you come across somebody that's that valuable or potentially that valuable, that you lean into them and say, hey, I want to be with you. I have chosen you. I've abandoned my other options, and I just dig your vibe. And he says, well, I have a boundary. And it's like a lot of women today, they're just like, nah, you're insecure. But I think it would be a different story if you actually had him sitting across from you. I truthfully believe, and I think all women, inclusive of Kayla, would even contemplate this very, very strongly. If there was a guy sitting across from you that was like a 10 out of 10 and ticked off all the boxes, and he said that, you would actually probably think about it and think to yourself, well, is the attention and validation of men that I don't really care about, that, let's be honest, aren't ever going to be a part of my future long term anyway, worth keeping around to abandon this guy, Adonis? Go ahead.
Sorry.
You don't put up your hand. You can just talk. I mean,
just talk.
I didn't know how it worked. I mean, my thing is, he's seen my Instagram. He knew how I was. So for him to come into my life and then be like, you know what, I don't like the way that you post things. I don't actually post things for like to get other men to date me, right?
No, but you said, but I mean, like you said, like you do it because you're proud of your body and you want to show it off, and you want the acknowledgement from the world that it exists in this state.
It's very common in gym culture for you to post your body, or like there's plenty of accounts that, like I said earlier in the podcast, about men with shirtless pics.
Yeah, I know fitness models that are all about it because they promote energy drinks and supplements and stuff like that, right? Like,
yeah,
you kind of have to be about that. But I mean, you're in real estate.
Right, but my career does not reflect who I am as a person, right? So just because someone does that for a career doesn't mean they're the only ones allowed to post their work, post their bodies. That when they go to the gym, only them, they're the only ones because they do it for it. No, like, we work hard too. I'm in there hip thrusting 300 pounds right now. If I want to take a video of me walking in the sand because my butt used to be flat, I will, because I worked hard for my butt. It's not for me to be like, oh, like, everybody look like, I'm not sitting here for a man to come over to my house, right?
Do you think it's good for, so let me rephrase the question a slightly different way, maybe table it, for everybody this way. Do you think it's good for a relationship to have you doing something like that, to have yourself, like showing yourself off to others?
I actually dated a guy, and he said something about how he actually likes it because it kind of lets you know that you're a wanted woman, right? Mm-hmm. Like, other men would like to have you, but knowing me, Where's
this guy today? How come you're not with him?
We just again, like, things didn't work out. Two different people. Both of my ex-boyfriends would probably say I'm like the best ex-girlfriend they've ever had, just because I'm very understanding. I'm not like a crazy ex or something like that. It's just people don't work out, and like, move on, But he said that his opinion on it is like, it shows that other men want you, but they can't have you. And I'm a very monogamous woman and loyal woman. I've never cheated on anybody. And to know that girl is like yours and only yours, he was all about it. He loved
Kayla,
it.
Don't you think potentially by leaving your Instagram open and allowing men to DM and comment and things like that, that's not somehow cracking the door and leaving it open to other men in his eyes?
I don't respond to their messages, and he would know that.
Right. But I mean,
it's
the fact that the
it's
door
thirsty
is
beta
open.
males that are messaging you, though. But if a guy with a blue check mark who's happened to be a Hollywood actor, like Chris Hemsworth, messages you,
if there's a better fit,
do you ignore him?
I also had that. Probably not. I had that discussion with my ex-husband of like, you're here for me probably like 60 more years, right? Mm-hmm. If there was someone who was a better fit for you and we sat down, we had a discussion about it, cool, go for it. I don't want to be the person that you're stuck with for 60 years.
You had this conversation when you're married?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did.
You're proud of that. You're proud of that, aren't you?
And just very open and honest about feelings and how people feel, to sit here and be like, oh, I wasn't checking them out. If you're married, just because you're married, we're all human. Our bodies work a certain way, and to sit there and be like, no, absolutely not. I'm just not the person to do that.
Right.
I'm not going to force someone to be miserable with me.
I think there's a big difference between checking someone out and saying that person's attractive versus is this person a better fit? I mean, that's not something you can essentially identify with one
Yeah.
glance. I think the crux of it is this: there's guys out there, myself included, that
Mhm.
if a woman is advertising herself and her Instagram is open and she's got good looking pictures of herself and she's single, by all means, go for it. Do your
Mhm.
thing. And so, but if a guy says, "Okay, I'm going to claim you. You're my woman. I'm your man," it's essentially like I've bought a car
Mhm.
from a dealership, but the first sale sign is still on the car. So it's like if you're with me and we're together, why are you continuing to act in the same way you were acting when you were single when we're together? Why is there no sort of the for sale sign is still out there? It's still sort of advertising yourself as available to other men in the world, even if it's just by having DMs or comments open in that attention, even because guys will hold on to the most tiny sliver of hope that you can possibly imagine. I mean, I had a conversation with some
Yeah.
buddies about this last night. Guys will stay in the friend zone for decades if they think there's
Mhm.
even a small chance that one day they'll get that chance, or you'll get drunk enough at a death metal concert that you guys end up making out, and then who knows what
Yeah.
else will happen. So
Yeah.
it's ultimately how guys kind of look at it. That it looks like you're still sort of acting single, even though you're in a relationship.
Right. Um, so I just want to say first, my phone's probably about to die. I would have to run upstairs and grab a charger. So if it dies, it's not that I left. I want to point something out is that I am single, but again, I'm not the type to hook up with people. So I wouldn't really change the way that I am inside of a relationship compared to who I am as a person right now. So it's not like I would
But it's
cheat on
about
somebody.
what
It's
you're
not,
putting out there, though. That's what I'm trying to get at, and not to cut you off, but it's about what you're
yeah,
communicating. Like, and it's about what you're communicating and what you're putting out into the world. It's not. I'm talking about you specifically. I'm talking about women in general
yeah.
that have
Um,
that. So I think that's what, because when guys see that, it's leaving an Instagram open, leaving DMs open is an invitation. There she goes. That's okay. She'll come back.
Yeah, just grab that charger and come back then.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you ladies think of all that? You want to chime in? Just say what you got to say.
People aren't maybe as one-dimensional as cars are. I feel like the analogy, in my opinion, isn't maybe the best. I feel like, and maybe it's just because of what I do for work that I might be a little bit biased, but how many Adonises are out there just waiting for every girl that would be considered high value? There's, that's sort of where I see it, is like there's not that many guys that are out there. I feel like it's unrealistic for everyone to think that way. If that makes sense, I'm not sure.
So you think there's not an abundance of men that are worth putting your Instagram on private or quitting your OnlyFans for, is what you're saying a little bit.
Yeah, like sort of going back to like if I did meet someone like that who was willing to take care of me, whatever, I would probably change. But there's not a lot of guys out there or women out there that can do that.
But don't you think that kind of works against you in a way? So if the pool of men that are at that level is already small,
Yeah.
why not do what's in your best possible interest to increase your odds as much as possible to potentially lock one of those guys down?
Because I have to take care of myself first, and sort of going into the reason why I do OnlyFans is because I have certain medical conditions that sort of limit me to being at my house a lot. And, it was sort of what landed in my lap. Uh, and I don't think like holding that off for the prospect of like an imaginary man that's like my Prince
No, it's not
Charming
an
who wants
imaginary
to
man.
take care of me.
It's an actual man that's saying, like you've asked me to be monogamous to
Yeah.
you, and you want to claim me, and you don't want me to see anybody else. So I have
Yeah.
a request for you.
Yeah. And
I don't take women seriously that post provocative photographs online.
I said I would change for him,
Yeah.
but I'm saying in the current state right now, I haven't met anyone like that.
Yeah, because you need it. I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I really hope you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full-length podcast, you can find that over here, that clip's from. If you're newer to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe over here. And pin down below in the top comment, you'll find a bunch of useful links to my website, my supplement line, books, and a bunch of other stuff. Have an amazing day. Peace out.